remains unsigned. He is a free agent after he was released by the Jets earlier this offseason, Myron. And he shows up in a lot of different places, not necessarily places that you or I would frequent or places that would typically draw our attention. But there was something that drew my attention this weekend because he referenced the team that I cover for ESPN, which is the Chicago Bears. He was, I believe, in Austin. And he was in a live podcast setting with a rapper named Mike Stud. This is the YNK podcast with Mike Stud. And there was a question posed to him about the team in Chicago. I want you to hear this and Aaron Rodgers' response.
Will Aaron Rodgers ever go to the Bears?
Oh, boy. Security, can we get her out of here? I need some security. Security,
can you take it easy on her on this one?
No, but I believe there's a team that might play in Chicago this year.
Let's go.
On a road trip. I don't know. I'm not sure. Got to check it out.
Okay, so Aaron Rodgers hinting to the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers play the Chicago Bears in Week 12. I don't know why he keeps speaking in code. If he's going to sign with the Steelers eventually, Myron, just say you don't want to show up until OTAs are over, that you don't want to be there for any of the voluntary portion of the offseason. Instead of dragging this thing out, because if I'm the Steelers and I keep hearing him drop hints like this, I'm picking up the phone and being like, dude, what is taking you so long? Just get signed already.
Yeah, I mean, this feels like it's beneath the Steelers organization. Like, this is not a marriage that I think would ever happen under normal circumstances. I know Mike Tomlin and Steelers are maybe a bit desperate at this point, but to me, the Steelers are sort of the embodiment of class, the embodiment of consistency, and they've just done a great job of avoiding the chaos that a lot of teams have endured. And now you're going to bring in Aaron Rodgers, who's speaking in code and still kind of letting this decision linger a little bit. It's just weird. And for me, Cordy, you cover this league, and you know better than I'll ever know. But what does this do to a locker room when you see stuff like this and you're trying to figure out if this guy's going to be your leader or not? It's just all weird.
Did they not learn? Like, did the Steelers not see from the Jets last year the way that everybody else in the NFL saw what happened when Aaron Rodgers wasn't truly locked in the offseason? He'd rather go to Egypt than show up for mandatory minicamp. And, we saw what that did to the coaching staff and Aaron Rodgers. Caused some pretty significant friction early on and ended up, by week 6, Robert Saleh's out of a job. To me, if he's not going to be focused. And yes, we know that he can play quarterback and he can throw the football and he's 41 years old. I get all of those things that have been regurgitated ad nauseum. You're still going to a new offense. You're still going to a new team that has new players, a new number one receiver in DK Metcalf. If your intent is to sign there eventually, like you keep telling us through, speaking in code here, then why not just do it now? Like, I understand you may not want to be part of OTAs. You have 2.5 weeks of this stuff left, along with mandatory minicamp. If you're so confident that it's not going to be an issue for you to pick up the playbook, then why not just get a head start to help everybody else along who probably needs the extra time working with the quarterback that's going to be throwing them the ball or handing them off the ball this year or protecting the quarterback if you're the offensive line. If you're the Steelers, at what point do you draw a line in the sand and say, we need a decision by this date, and if it doesn't happen, then we're going to go trade for Kirk Cousins? Because last I checked, he's still sitting there in Atlanta as QB2 when they're about to turn the reins of the offense officially over to Michael Penix Jr. this year. He's younger. B, I understand, he's a better quarterback at this point of his career. You have a longer runway here with Kirk Cousins than you would maybe 1 year with Aaron Rodgers. And Kirk has been the model of consistency his entire career. Has that led to multiple playoff wins? No. But why not? What point is this charade too much for an organization that, as you said, this is usually, these shenanigans and this charade is usually beneath them? I can't imagine being Omar Khan or Mike Tomlin listening to the YNK podcast with Mike Stud being like, oh, wait, did you hear that? Aaron's hinting that he's going to sign with us today. Why would you want to put up with any of this?
I mean, that's the thing. It doesn't make sense in terms of who the organization is, who they've been, who their head coach is. But now you have a situation where once you align yourself with a toxic person, this is kind of what happens. And you're in the Aaron Rodgers game. And once you've decided you're interested in him, this is what happens. I think if they wanted Kirk Cousins, they would have already gone after Kirk Cousins. It's clear they're just sort of waiting on Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers knows at this point he has all the power. I don't think there's a line in the sand. I think he realizes he can do whatever he wants. But it's a selfish approach, which is what Aaron Rodgers is about at this point in his career. He needs more football too, Courtney. He hasn't played great football in 4 years since that MVP season, the back-to-back MVP seasons with the Green Bay Packers. Why not get closer to your team if this is the team you're going to lead? Get to know these guys, be in the locker room, but that's just not who he is at this point in his career. And that, to me, goes against everything that Mike Tomlin preaches, that organization is about. So now I have zero sympathy, though, by the way, for the Steelers. Don't make them, some sort of case for sympathy here. They did this to themselves if, in fact, they go with Aaron Rodgers and this becomes a disastrous season.
Well, they've learned, too, that the short-term fixes at quarterback, which is what Rodgers would be, it doesn't work in Pittsburgh. They haven't been able to find any model of consistency at that position since Ben Roethlisberger retired. If you get Kirk Cousins, and I know he's got $37.5 million in guarantees, somebody's got to pay that, whether it's Atlanta or another team that would be offsetting what he's owed, still on that contract that he signed, more than a year ago now as a free agent. You would have several years, in the very least, no matter what happens, to the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, whether they're a playoff team for another year, whether they're not, you still have a very good quarterback on your roster that wouldn't preclude you from going to draft somebody like Arch Manning next year, trading up to get Arch Manning. They're never going to be bad enough to be in the top 5 of the draft order, but next year's quarterback class is a lot better than this year's quarterback class. Why not usher in and have, stability and have, a better setup than having Aaron Rodgers there for a year, if he comes at all? Because at this point, you keep dropping the hints, but I'm not seeing any action being put behind the words that are coming out of Aaron Rodgers' mouth. What happens if they get to, I don't know, the OTAs end, it's mini camp, and they go into the summer and there's no word on Aaron Rodgers? You think they're going to wait until training camp to let this thing play out? Is that even the right thing to do? I don't even think he's your best option at quarterback right now. Yeah. I think Kirk Cousins, knowing what we didn't get to see from him last year after they, effectively made the switch between him and Michael Penix Jr., I think a new system in an offense that's going to be tailored towards the run and not having Kirk do too much at this point of his career. We know they don't throw over the middle of the field a lot. I think it's a perfect marriage, more than hedging everything for Rodgers to come here and jobs on the line, that this is a quarterback that's going to get you to the playoffs and actually win you a game in the postseason.
It could help. I mean, Kirk Cousins to me would make a lot of sense, but he's just more complicated, right? It's the money, it's the no trade clause, it's all of those layers. I think they're making it clear that it's Aaron Rodgers or we're just going to get ready for 2026 at quarterback. And I think that's the problem when you're targeting Aaron Rodgers. He gets the control and everything that's about to happen moving forward. I think he's going to be the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he knows it. And I think he also knows they don't have any other options. And that's just a rough place to be when you got to turn to that guy to try to lead your team.
Yeah, I guess we're going to have to watch whatever live stream he's on. Is that what it's called, a live stream? Or is it just called a stream? Like what all the, what Pat Costello?
Streamer, yeah.
Thank you.
Live stream,
Thanks,
right?
Pat. Yeah, is it a live stream?
He'll go live at some point. Yeah,
so, that's what we're going to be watching next for another Aaron Rodgers hint, because he continues to drop all of these. But I'm still not seeing any action behind it. I don't know. Maybe I'm the skeptical one. I know that they have put all of their eggs in the Aaron Rodgers basket. Doesn't seem like a smart decision. I wonder if they'd go back on that now, knowing what they know now. But he apparently thinks that there is a team he's playing that's in Chicago in 2025. And we do know that the Steelers have the Bears week 12 of the season at Soldier Field. He's Myron Medcalf and Courtney Cronin on Sportsmanlike, brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Download the app today. 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Straight ahead, we'll ask our ESPN NFL senior reporter when we should expect a...
Hello, xin chào tất cả các bạn nha. Mình sẽ giới thiệu cho các bạn về kênh của mình và những video của mình, cho các bạn biết được là kênh của mình làm video sáng tạo nội dung về chủ đề gì. Video của mình sẽ làm xuyên suốt về chủ đề cắt dán này. Mình sẽ cắt dán những sản phẩm như thế này cho các bạn xem. Đây là những sản phẩm mình đã hoàn thiện rồi. Sẽ giới thiệu sơ qua cho các bạn xem những sản phẩm của mình.